about a few updates with Arthur and Hope, and then I want to talk about them in this last episode. Okay, so the latest with Arthur is he's officially a free man. Earlier, he bonded out of the Dallas County Jail after the shooting charges against him were dropped, and his bond was reduced to $85,000. His mom said that Arthur is out on bail. Thank goodness. We had enough to put down a lump sum and then make a payment plan. I wonder if they had to pay the whole $85,000. I'm assuming they just had to pay 10% because $85K is a lot to come up with at one time. And then Arthur, after he was released from jail, he was walking through downtown Dallas, and this dude who's another content creator, he ran into Arthur and made a reel with him, and this is what they had to say. YouTube makes me have to be on camera in order to watch videos without getting in trouble for it. So we're just going to react to the audio from this video and what they said.
Alright, y'all, guess what, boy? We got Loveafterlockup, Lifeafterlockup with Arthur Henderson. If y'all see him, he be with that girl Hope. You know what I'm saying? This first day out. First day out. Ain't no more Hope. Ain't no more none of that, gang. None of that. Ain't no more.
The last time I had spoken with Arthur, I asked him about his relationship with his mother because he had been posting some things on Instagram that kind of made it sound like he wasn't on good terms with her and certain members of his family. And he did claim that he was not talking to his mother at the time because he was upset because he felt like she had something to do with telling his uncle not to help bond him out. And his mother actually spoke with me a few days ago and said that that was apparently a big misunderstanding. She said she didn't tell the uncle anything like that, so she doesn't understand why they were telling Arthur that, but she claims that him and her are currently on good terms, and like she said, she actually helped get Arthur out with some of the bond money she put down. I'm sure they used some of the GoFundMe money they had too. And now let's talk about Arthur and Hope in this last episode. Hope went to meet up with her two sisters, and she decided to drop the bombshell that she has a man in her life, and her sisters were like, okay, spill the tea. And she's like, yeah, it's this guy that I've been talking to. He's been in my life for 6 years. And they're originally concerned, thinking that Hope had went back to one of her toxic exes, because it seems like from how they were talking that that's been a problem for Hope in the past. Hope was like, well, we kind of been having a long distance relationship. And they're like, well, what do you mean by long distance? Like maybe thinking it's like a 90-day fiance situation going on. And Hope's like, no, it's long distance because he just got out of prison. And her sisters seem completely shocked. I don't know. I'm having a hard time believing that her sisters had no idea about Arthur beforehand, especially with as long as he's been in the picture and the fact that Hope's been filming for this TV show. Like, what do they think she's filming for? Like, they're just doing a documentary on Hope? Then she even went as far as to tell her sisters all about Arthur's recent mental breakdown he had, even before they get a chance to meet him. So this is already painting a picture in their head of what kind of guy they think he is before even giving him a chance. And Hope's sister studied criminal justice, and she decides to bring Arthur to dinner with both her sisters, her dad, who's a correctional officer, and a few other family members. And Hope brings Arthur to dinner with everybody. And, you know, Hope's the only person that Arthur knows at the table. And they sit down, and Hope's dad didn't waste no time grilling Arthur. He wanted to know what he does for a living, and Arthur doesn't have a job, so he's like, nothing. And you could tell how nervous Arthur was speaking. Like, he's been pretty comfortable talking to the cameras, but his nervous voice came on for this scene during this grilling. And the dad was like, well, what do you do then? He's like, well, you know, I design clothes. I'm trying to find me a job. And then the sister was like, yeah, and you haven't even told the dad how you guys met. And then Hope's just sitting there smiling, and you could even tell Hope was nervous. And once we finally met the dad and found out he was a correctional officer, now I understand why Hope hasn't told her dad yet, because you can tell she's been trying to put it off for as long as possible. Hope's dad was eating spaghetti, and as soon as they brought up, tell your dad how you guys really met, that dad stopped eating that spaghetti real quick and glanced over, and when they said they met each other through prison, the dad was like, here we go. And of course he wanted to know what Arthur had been locked up for, and you know, his charges, along with being locked up for 9 years and not having a job. You know, this is not something that a father really wants to hear. But the father has a unique perspective because, you know, he's been around so many inmates. He has seen people come out and change. And he said he believes everybody deserves a second chance. But he also is well aware of all the dudes who just butter people up while they're in prison and sell people a dream and then come out and then end up going right back. And he just wants to make sure that Arthur is supporting Hope the way she deserves, other ways outside of just talking to her and being there for her. Everyone was just holding his feet to the fire, and even the dad's girl and Hope was laughing at one point, and I feel like Hope should have like stepped in and at least tried to defended him somewhat or came to his defense. Everybody was just grilling him. And you know, when Arthur's saying, you know, I try to talk to her, I try to be there for her, she could have stepped in and been like, you know, he's done this for me, you know, he may have not been here financially, but he was able to do this. But she wasn't doing anything to try to make him seem like a good boyfriend at all. She was just completely leaving it up to him when he's already in an uncomfortable situation because he doesn't really know anybody that he's around. These are Hope's people. And I think the sister was just rapid firing questions for Arthur, trying to leave no stones unturned. But I don't feel like it was appropriate to bring up his mental breakdown in front of Hope and her dad and the whole family like that. That should have been like a sidebar conversation. I just felt like that was not the time and place. It just made me feel uncomfortable. Like, why are we talking about this man's mental breakdown, especially the first time that he's meeting all these people? I just felt like Hope should have never brought that up to begin with, especially before they even got a chance to meet him, like I said. But that is pretty much it. He acted like he's going to do everything he can to try to make sure that he can start supporting Hope and doing what he needs to do, and the family seem like they're open to giving him a chance. The sisters said that they're rooting for Arthur and they're rooting for Hope, but they really don't know what they're rooting for both of them together. Now in current time, he's back in the free world, and I hope he goes back to his job in construction that he has, and I hope he goes back to his mom's house. I don't know what his plans are now that he's out of prison, but I still feel like that's probably the best place for him right now. But that's it for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think about everything in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.